We did it again. We did it again, man. We did it again. Can't stop, man. We can't stop. Won't stop. What's poppin', man? It's your boy, OK Bad, aka K Trades. You know what's going on, man. So we back. How y'all doing, man? Hope y'all had a very calm day, right? Remember we talked about not overdoing things, being patient, waiting for the setup to come to you. And I hope that y'all listened and let the setup come to you. Because today was one of those days where you kind of just bought and held pretty much all day, right? We got our rejection zone, broke our support, got our puts, held them. Took calls end of the day, SPX scalps, banked over 100%. We actually did 300% on SPX calls today. They ended up going over 500%, but you know, see profit, take profit, man. You can't catch them all, you know. But it is what it is. Let's get into this CPI business, see what's happening in the markets, see what SPY is probably gonna do. Go over a few tickers, the dollar, the VIX, all that good stuff, and then let's see where we go from there. So let's get it. All right, first things first, let's go ahead and hop into this dollar. Right, dollar was kind of flat today, along with the VIX. Right, VIX was also pretty flat today. But again, we are still in that zone, right? Kind of in that spike zone where anything can happen down here, right? Even if we gap up tomorrow, right? Once we kind of get below that 14, we usually have some sort of spike on the VIX, right? Remember, that just means volatility. It doesn't necessarily always mean that it's going to dump per se, you know? And then the dollar's still flagging. Like I said, still in this range. When we talked about this yesterday, if you break above, push, right? If it wants to continue lower, hey, so be it, right? Stocks go up. I'm a bull, you know me. I don't mind as is anyway. Well, we had earnings today. SMCI had earnings. Okay, nice little move. Let me see what this is looking like. Okay, a little 5% move. Not really much. Yeah, I don't know, man. I haven't really been wanting to play any earnings lately. I've just been really watching SPY. That's really about it. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go over SPY. So I didn't want to swing anything only because, like I said, it's CPI, and a lot of times, whenever the market's just waiting for this big piece of news, it can be flat. You know what I'm saying? Like we can have a big day ahead of us, and everybody's like, "Oh, CPI," and then we get a candle like this, right? We mess around and we open. Let's say we get right here. We'll have a little body right here, and then have a wick up here, wick down here. And now you basically got cooked, you know what I'm saying? So I'd rather just kind of wait and see how we open up. So we're going to go over both those scenarios. So let's go over the bullish scenario first. First things first, mark off previous day's high. Bang. Then we're going to mark off our previous day's low. Bang. And then we're going to mark our previous day's close. Where we close at? Right here. Bang. Right on our levels, right? So now we already have our 3 levels. So basically wherever we do get this data candle, right? Let's say, like I said, if we do gap up, it should give us a wick or something along the lines, right? The last data we had, it kind of gave us a full candle, but it still gave us a nice, range that we kind of stayed in for the rest of the day. See that? So we're gonna be kind of looking for that same thing on CPI, right? So let's say we do get a whatever candle, we're gonna mark off wherever the high of that candle is and wherever the low of that candle is. Whenever that liquidity kicks in, all that volume starts to wick both sides, we're going to mark off both those tops. So if we do gap up, right, we'll watch for, let's say, like I said, the candle looks like, we'll give it a little imaginary candle. Candles like this, right? From here to here, we'll mark off the high and lows of those candles, right? So then when the market opens up, we'll wait for one of the sides to be swept. If it wants to sweep the top side, we'll wait for that to either sweep and fail back below, back down, and continue lower. Right? Or if it does sweep and hold roughly that 773 level, we'll get to push back up to 775, and then possibly, new all-time highs that can kind of continue in this, if it wants to, just be a little bull trap, right? Bear trap right here as of now. Remember, we talked about what are bear traps. Bear traps are when you're trending up, bullish, and then boom, you take out one of the swing lows, swing high, or something along those lines to where it starts to feel like it's dumping, but it doesn't actually go lower, and then it just kind of squeezes back above, and then you come out to take out that same underbelly of the levels we dumped from, right? So if this is a bear trap, then we will hold 770, get back above, and kind of squeeze back to that 773, right? And if we can reclaim 773, boom, 775, all-time highs, right? So very simple levels to the upside, but it's still the upside, so it's going to be a little tricky, man. I'm not really convinced that we're just going to continue until we can break out of this range, right? So once we get up here, then I'll kind of be like, all right, kind of hesitant, right? Because we have a high, right? And as of now, we only have lower highs. So we don't have a higher high yet to continue the trend, right? But we do have a high, a low, and a lower high, technically, right? Just off what we have as of now. This is technically a lower high. Let's go to the higher time frame. It looks a little easier. There we go. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So we got this little wick up here, and I guess you can call this a little low down here, and then a high, and then we're kind of in that space right now, right? So this is kind of why we're in this little wedge, because we're making lower highs but higher lows at the same time. So we're kind of getting tight. And you know what consolidation leads to? Let's zoom out. What happens? Consolidation leads to expansion. Now, whether it's expansion to the upside, remember, we do not know. We don't know that yet. So what we'll be looking for is fake outs. Let's say tomorrow data wicks us down here and we just get scooped right back above that 768 level. Like, let's say we don't come all the way down to 765. Because if we come all the way down to 765, I'd probably be interested. Probably looking for initial bounce here. If it's not strong enough, then we'll probably go all the way down to that 760, right? The original breakout area. But if we do that, then this starts to look like some sort of double top, right? Double top, breakdown, retest, failure, right? So if we cannot reclaim 768 and we do get below it, then we'll probably look for, that continuous leg down. But let's say we just sweep it. Boom, sweep it. We get back above 770, reclaim 773. I'll be looking for this to kind of be a fake out, right? And then kind of squeezes right back above. But like I said, remember, patience and waiting for candles to close. That's going to be your main key to understand, exactly what's happening and stuff like that. I had a session with one of my students today, and I was basically telling him how, like, a lot of the mistakes that people make is just by being impatient. Like today, right? I understand at the beginning of the day it was a little choppy, right? We talked about this. I said, look, we're just going to wait until we hit a trigger, all right? So we had our 4-hour low, overnight low, we had all these lows right here. I said, hey, once this triggers, then it'll be a little easier to kind of play, add, get targets, because while we're inside of all these inside candles, we're not doing anything, right? This is just inside movement. Up, down, up, down, up, down, right? We weren't doing anything. So that's why earlier, like, I understand why it was a little frustrating during the beginning of the day, because we're in a range, right? Without direction, how can you know which way to go? If there's no direction being explained, then you can't know if you're going calls, puts, right? Longs or shorts, you don't really know. So the best way to get over that is just to wait, set an alert, and just wait. Walk away, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to sit here and watch this all day, right? Half the time I'm on the couch or I'm out hooping, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not really just watching this 24/7, and it's not really your job, to do that. That's not why we trade. We're not trading so we can sit here from 8 to 3. We're trading so we can wait for a move and then be in that trade from 10 to 10:45. Make some money and get out, go home, and go about your day. So it's easier to just set alerts. So once we hit that alert, this is when I was like, okay, cool, we're cool. Basically, let the puts kind of run. And I know 1DTs did around 200% on puts, but I'm not really sure. Zeros, I know zeros on SPX. Somebody had one went like 700% from. I don't know how long he held, but hey, it just goes to show patience pays. And I talked about this at the beginning of the day. Do not try to overtrade this while we're inside of a range, right? If we're in an inside candle, just let it be, let it play out. Because let's say you have a candle, right? Candle looks like this, and then the next candle, it's in here. It's a green candle, whatever the case may be, right? How do you know whether, my fault, green candle. How do you know if this candle is going to, if you should get calls and let it come take out the top? You don't, right? You really don't. So you taking a risk inside of this bigger candle, yeah, it can come up here, but what happens if it doesn't and you get a next leg down, right? On a red candle or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So when you're on an inside candle, you just don't, just walk away, right? And I told you all day, I said, look, I'm going back to bed. When my alerts hit, we'll pop back up, see where we go from here, all right? And then once we got that crack, it was all right, cool, just wait for a retest. And then look, smaller time frames, look at this. Beautiful retest, all right? We had a gorgeous breakdown, retest. It looked like it was chopping, like consolidation, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter, as long as we broke down, retest, and then what? Continued through, right? We hit our level, sold through. We actually got a little more in our 771, and then it ended up giving us a next leg. I wasn't in for this next leg part, but I did catch this little move back up here. It was a nice nice little well, I don't even remember what it was. It was nice little gains, you know, not too crazy. But you understand what I'm saying? So just make sure that you're giving yourself time. Be patient, right? You don't have to rush anything, because what does that do, right? What does rushing do? Is it gonna make you profit faster? No, it's not. You being impatient is not gonna help you at all, right? You might be able to catch some trades, like let's say like you bought puts immediately at open. Cool, right? Okay, cool. You got a little profit at open. But is that something that you want to practice? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to practice bad behavior, because it's like gambling. You know what I'm saying? When you're gambling, you're really just getting lucky, for real, right? People be like, oh, what's the edge, this and this. If you're straight up gambling on something that you can't control, like say sports, if you're just gambling, all right, put some money on this. That's just gambling. You don't control the outcome, but you understand that risk. Same thing with trading. But for some reason, when people put in their trades, they panic or they freak out too early, but before it even has time to fail. So today I was like, hey, puts look good as long as we don't reclaim any new high of day. So right underneath this little miniature zone right here, right, all this little balance range, once we broke down retest, as long as, look, this play took about almost 2 hours of chop. But as long as it did not break, then there was no reason to panic, right? There was no reason to cut your puts. There was no reason to really do anything, because the play had not failed yet. Never reclaimed a new high, never reclaimed 775. So I don't understand why, it's a lot harder for people to do this versus straight up gambling. Because when you're straight up gambling, you know exactly what you're going to lose. As soon as you put that money on the table, you know, hey, this is my risk. This is what I'm going to lose. You have to be the same way, if not even, way more aware on trading, right? People will put in, a play, boom, whatever, $1,000. My risk is 300, and then they'll start freaking out just because it's not going fast enough. Not because they were wrong, but just because they have to sit through maybe minor drawdown, green, red, you're down 10%. You know what I'm saying? They just don't want to be patient, and then they're like, oh man, I'm gonna cut it right here, and then it just next candle. And now if you had just waited from here to here, yes, it's painful. Yes, it sucks to sit and wait. But as long as your trade's not incorrect, then you got to see it through. You know what I'm saying? So see it through. But the only way you can do that is with time. That's why they say only time will tell, because the only way that something can be confirmed is with the test of time. So let things be tested with time. All right? Is this a bullish zone? We're going to have to see with time. You know what I'm saying? So is this a bullish zone? No, because we tried to hold, even got a little gap, and then it sold off, even got another little bump, and then it sold, and then it tried to hold, and it could not. So is this a bullish zone? No, it's not. And how do we know? Because time told us that, right? Time told us, and then we had our confluences. We had our support that was broken, right? We had our double top, right? Double top, little neckline, broke through, retest, right? We had all these things to confirm. So once you put it all together, you kind of don't have to stress. You know what I'm saying? Just let it play out. If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, we can pay. You know what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So yeah, man, there's no reason to really stress about this. So that's upside, right? Like I said, upside is a lot easier as far as levels. Now, downside, because we haven't tested any of this yet, we're going to have to be a little bit more patient to see, right? So let's say let's go back to the higher time frames. Boom, let's go back to let's go to the 4 hour, because we're going to have to talk about overnight hours. So let's say this is a breakdown retest here, right? Let's say in the next hour and 35. If the next hour and 35 recovers, like I said, we already talked about gap up scenario. But let's say this isn't, right? Let's say this is the gap down scenario. Let's say this is the breakdown retest of 770, right? And remember, all we're doing as traders is looking left, right? Zoom out, look left. What do we see when we look left? Below 770, right? 770, 771 in that range. The next support is 768 and 765, right? That's just based upon what our eyes are telling us. That's all we have. We don't have to guess. You don't have to stress. You don't have to worry. None of that, right? If this is going to be support, the market will let you know, because over time, it will show you, hey, we like this level. If the market does not, then it'll get to this level and be like, man, we're not liking that, right? And then it'll go below the level, and then it won't recover, right? And then it'll roll down to wherever it came from last time. So tomorrow, like I said, if we do gap down, obviously wait to see, if we gap down probably about right here, be a little patient, right? Because you don't know if we just get a crazy run back up. But if we gap like way below that, we gap like 767 or something, then kind of look for rejection underneath if we can't just instantly, shoot back up, because we can, right? This can just be a nice little double bottom forming or something like that, right? Maybe a little divergence or something. So be careful even if we do gap down, right? The same way I said be careful even if we gap up, be careful even if we gap down, because like I said, you just don't want to be that person that takes that risk for no reason. You know what I'm saying? For what? So, and that's why I didn't swing anything. So no risk on from me. But overall though, big picture. Let's go to the 12-hour. Big picture, right? We still have this, right? We still have this overall zone that has not been tested. So we broke out. So even if we double topped here and came down into here over the next 2 weeks, 750, 760, this still might be a nice place to buy off of long term. You know what I'm saying? So we'll approach it as it comes. All right. You never want to jump the gun. It's good to have plans, right? Keep it simple, because why? This is as simple as you make it. If you complicate this, it will be complicated. If you keep it simple, it'll be simple, right? Relatively speaking. The mentality part, that's all up to you. I can teach you this stuff, but I can't teach you what it feels like, you know what I'm saying? To be in a trade, to be down, to be up, to have to wait for a trade, hours, days if you're swinging. I can't really teach that part to you. But if you're, looking for a teacher as far as this skill, just the skill of understanding the charts and reading and all that stuff, then like I said, you know where to find me at. Hit me up, if you're interested in mentorships and stuff like that. So Instagram at OKBet. You already know who it is. Samson. Not just mess with y'all. But yeah, man. So like I said, if that's what you need, that's what you need. But if not, probably do a little more research beforehand. If you're still just kind of like, I have no idea what's going on, probably do a little more research first, right? Because I feel like a mentor is someone that you should use after you've kind of got some experience under your belt, so that way you can understand what you need help with. You can't just be like, oh, I need a mentor, but I don't really know what for. I just start from scratch. You know what I'm saying? That's not really the best thing to do, because a lot of information you can learn on your own, So make sure that you do kind of try first. And then if you're just like, all right, I've been trying, I just can't figure out what, ma'am, I need a little help. Cool. That's where mentoring comes in here. And like I said, y'all know where to find me. Okay, bet. See what I'm saying? But yeah, man, keep it simple. I'm not really going to be, I don't think nothing crazy is going to happen for CPI. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we could just rock it, green beam right back up. But if we do that, I do hope we kind of just slow grind to the top tomorrow. I hope it's not like the only CPI candle and then the whole day we spend inside that candle. Those days are not the most fun. But like I said, hey, we do have a little, you know what I'm saying? So if it does want to kind of give us a little diamond bottom, it still can, recover over time. So I'm still going to be looking to buy oversold dips at some point, right? Whether it's here, right? Whether it's here or whether it's here. Whichever, or if we gap up and it's here, right? I'm looking for some sort of dip to buy. Because, remember, we don't fight the trend. The trend is our friend, and the trend is bullish, right? We are bullish. That is just, it's fact, right? That's just a fact. I don't care how you feel. I don't care if you want it to dump. I don't care if I want it to dump. I don't care if I want to pull back. The market don't care, right? It's a fact. We are bullish right now. So until we see otherwise, stick with a bullish mindset, right? Today, we did go short, but not crazy short, right? Barely, maybe half size, like nothing crazy. And we bought 1DTs because shorting in a bull market can get you whooped. Look at this. All people who try to short in here, cooked. Try to short again, cooked. Short again, cooked. Short again, cooked. Short again, cooked. You know what I'm saying? You really only got one good pullback right here and then right here. That's probably it. And then we just chopped. So you know what I'm saying? If they want to continue this, then this could, like I said, just be a testing. It could be a little higher low. You know what I'm saying? Boom, give us a higher high, then maybe go. I don't know. Right? We'll have to wait and see. So yeah, man, just don't rush it. Keep it smooth. Keep it patient. Breathe, right? If you're in no rush, there's no rush. You know what I'm saying? So remember, pre-market lows. Overnight lows. Well, I guess it's weird now because overnight lows, I guess you could say pre-market lows, but it's always cool to mark those as well, right? Because now we do have those 24-hour candles. So it can't help you. You can never have too much information, especially at all-time highs. We don't really have much to look left at. So in this case, like I said, we have our previous day's lows, we have our previous day's high, opened, and then we have our previous day's close, right? So overnight, you can kind of see, watch. If there's anything crazy you need to mark, you know what I'm saying, then do that. But, just be aware that we're going to need some levels, you know what I'm saying? So don't overthink it. Don't over stress it. Keep it simple. Yeah, man, and just have fun, right? Have fun and breathe. Keep God first, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.